What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another RD charting video. Um, if you clicked on this video, if the video is running, stick with me for a few seconds. You might be interested in this, in WULF. It's a Bitcoin miner. Of course, if you're not interested in Bitcoin, if you're not interested in the markets, well, take a look at my channel. I do have a small library now developed of some analysis on some stocks. Take a look, see what you think. Maybe there's something in there that resonates with you. But in general, I'm just trying to get everyone more familiar with the financial markets because I think it's beneficial for all of us to have more understanding of the financial markets as opposed to less. Um, and hopefully, just watching the videos will help you think a little more about your own investments and whatnot. Of course, nothing is recommendation to buy or sell, but again, just trying to kind of pump out that education. And yeah, I mean, maybe there's some trades in here that might seem interesting to you if you're a short-term trader or looking for kind of a short-term idea and whatnot. I also have long-term ideas, but those are more of like, you buy a little bit over time because, again, we don't want to go in, and this is like, I would say, not financial advice, but generally good practices, even in trading, even in short-term trading, is to buy a little bit of your investment or your trade at a time because the market can be wild. And and that's exactly what happened in the last video I released on VCLT, um, which was my most recent video. I'll just take a look here briefly for us. VCLT is in a counter trend move, right? So I released my video and it did pop up a little bit a few days later, but it has since gone down pretty dramatically. And theoretically, the trend is still intact over the really long term, but it's a really long term idea. And in the short term, you might have some of these really intense moves against your idea. And so you have to always be prepared for that. And you can't be too exposed financially to those ideas because it could end up really hurting you. So let's get to WULF here. Why I promised I would try to cover something that's been going in our favor. And I've had some trouble trying to get this video uploaded and stuff. So, all right, I'm gonna release this one, whether it's good, bad, perfect, whatever. This one's going out to you guys, and we'll just talk about it here for a second. So, um, it has gone in our favor a little bit. I do have some shares, surprise, surprise, and I picked up a few more shares here because uh, there was some news that sent it down initially, and I I kind of thought, in my opinion, like this news is actually kind of decent news, like kind of good news. So I bought a few more shares. We can talk briefly about, okay, it's in kind of a longer term trend, of course. And, we can talk about if you bought here, it would be painful. You would have to ride this out. And so that's why, okay, you get excited about a trend, but when it's early in the trend, you typically don't want to go all in. Obviously, as I kind of mentioned in the beginning of this video, you want to, you can buy a little here, that's fine, but you have to understand that it's early in the trend and we're already really close to the target really early. And a lot of times that is a recipe for a pullback. And that's exactly what happened. So you only want to buy a little, if anything, and see how it moves for you, and then it's obviously got crushed. So, maybe you can buy a little bit extra here, and hope that the trend will kind of play out overall. And that's what we're seeing. It is playing out at the moment. Now, again, it could pull back. WULF could pull back like $1. That would be extreme if it pulled back to 480. that would be like if this doesn't work at all, then then it could pull back there. But I mean, theoretically, again, I've seen stuff it pulls back down into here, and then it keeps going overall. So we'll see. My opinion is that it'll probably keep some decent momentum um, coming up into these targets just because it's been in this trend. So I think that right now, I think you'll get a bit of a nice short term strength on this one. Obviously, remains to be seen, as I say in most of my videos. We don't know anything. We can make our best estimations, but the market will eventually tell us whether we're wrong or right. So that's that. But anyway, that's kind of what I'm expecting here. But again, we do have to be prepared, and you can't have so much of the stock that you can't handle a pullback into this area before it keeps moving. So, again, time will tell how that works, but I'm kind of excited to see how it plays out. And the strength of Bitcoin lately has been there, so a Bitcoin miner should be helped by that theoretically. Now, the one risk you do take with Bitcoin miners is it's a company, and so it's subject to management. Um, they have business costs. It's not as simple as you're just trading the Bitcoin asset. They have business costs and stuff, and they have to finance their operations. So you do have some risks there, and that's why actually, um, if you follow cryptocurrency, you follow this stuff, uh, Bitcoin miners have been really a big underdog and even, well, it's actually, you're up quite a bit. They have been following the trend of Bitcoin now pretty well. Probably even that much more volatile than a Bitcoin, though, which is interesting. Which could be more opportunity, could be more risk. But anyway, but historically, it's not been till this most recent strength in Bitcoin. In the you can see they did go, but they got crushed probably even more so than what Bitcoin did. And so the whole crypto sphere and stuff was like, oh, Bitcoin miners, they're totally underperforming, and they became total dogs is the term for that kind of in the investment industry or whatever. But yeah, so again, kind of doing okay here on this move. Now, it was so we got this range expansion here that week, and then there was a second week in a row of a range expansion to the upside, and so that indicates pretty good strength at the moment. And so it'll be obviously, as always, it'll be interesting to see how it plays out and see where we'll go from here. I have drawn some like really high end targets, just again to develop the theory of could it go to this target, and it gives my mind a bit of a better mental picture as to how I want to manage my own trade um, and whatnot. So, again, if the trend is incredibly strong, then you could potentially get a move up to these levels. Um, Remains to be seen, of course. And I'll just cover a little bit of the news here. I know this video is getting a little long in the tooth. Apologize, but um, the news that sent TeraWulf down a little bit, like it was sent it down kind of to here. Obviously, it has recovered at the moment a little, but the news there was they are offering a convertible debt, and what that means is like that the debt can be converted into shares once that debt once that contract ends in 2030. And I think the market's initial reaction was like, no, like my shares are going to be diluted. Again, supply and demand the market at its bare minimum is supply and demand. So you add more shares and the share price goes down. You take away shares, the share price goes up. That's the theory, right? Uh, so here, you know, $500 million convertible debt offering, but they're planning to use $200 million of that debt to buy back some of the shares. So in the short term, theoretically, if they're able to buy $200 million worth of their shares over the next year or so, that theoretically would help the share price go higher and stay higher. So that's kind of the theory and that's kind of what I was thinking. And so I thought, well, I don't really think this is the correct reaction from the market. So I added a little more shares here. It's not a huge position for me because again, it's so volatile that I really want to be able to stick with this trade rather than, get washed out. Because if it pulls back to here or something, I'd rather buy more if I could, as opposed to having to sell because I'm at such a big loss. I can't handle it. So that's the idea here. I There might be a little more I could cover on it. I forget. I'm not going to cover Bitcoin in this video because it's gonna make the video too long, and I'm already at 11 minutes, which is quite long. So yeah, uh, that's TeraWulf. That's the follow-up review on TeraWulf, and hope you guys enjoy. Um, we'll see how it plays out. It's kind of interesting idea here. So catch you guys later. Thanks for watching. Hasta luego.